Spider-Man, Spider-Man, does whatever a spider can. Welcome. Now I'm going to review the Spider-Man graphic novels in my collection to see which one comes out as my most favorite. To be clear, these are not necessarily the best graphic novels of all time the web crawler has to offer. So let's not pass up more time and get on with this. Spider-Man Marvel Team Up. Spider-Man teams up with multiple superheroes, namely Yellow Jacket and the Wasp, Human Torch, Miss Marvel, Iron Fist, Daughters of the Dragon, Captain Britain, Tigra, Man-Thing, Havoc, Thor, and Power Man, with each of their own storylines sharing one common goal, which is to subdue the enemies. Each team-up was both story-driven and action-packed, which I really liked, and most of the pairings included here were unexpected for me, but they made it work fantastically. The flashback parts helped make the actions of the characters more understandable, and each character Spider-Man worked with got to shine. My most favorites are Spidey's team-up with Iron Fist and Daughters of the Dragon, Man-Thing, and Captain Britain, because I thought their stories felt unique and more creative than the others. Some issues like the ending from the Miss Marvel team-up could have provided at least a summary of what happened afterwards. Minor flaws aside, this book is worth a look. The Amazing Spider-Man Through the Decades. This book collects random stories from different eras since Spider-Man's early appearances in the 60s, from his battle with Sandman to the latest chapter of changes in his life. The text pieces are helpful, and all of the stories were good and left me wanting more, but I think they could have selected more memorable tales to include. It's also a little disappointing that I didn't get to see Iron Spider and future Foundation Spider-Man from the cover, which looks great. If I have to pick my favorites though, it would be number 50, number 122, and number 195. Look at just how iconic this panel is from number 50. It even includes some bios from other characters I haven't heard of before, which I felt out of place because it ruins the flow of reading from one story to the next. I think they could have summarized their histories a little more, since their basic information was already enough for me to get to know them. It's still an enjoyable book though, despite some flaws. The Amazing Spider-Man Big Time, The Complete Collection, Volume 1. Things seem to be going well for Peter Parker as he meets with Max Model and gets a high-paying science job at Horizon Labs. While adapting to his new lifestyle, villains such as Hobgoblin allies with Kingpin to plan an evil scheme, followed by Alistair Smythe along with Scorpion and an army of Spider Slayers planning to take revenge on Mayor J. Jonah Jameson for his misdeeds towards them by going after the people close to him. Aside from that, Peter Parker also gets to join the Fantastic Four and take part in their adventures, and become a teacher at the Avengers Academy to teach a thing or two about responsibility. This is by far the best Spider-Man graphic novel I've ever read. The stakes involved in saving people whose lives are in danger and other problems make this an engaging read. It's one of the best examples that exploited Spider-Man dealing with responsibilities, continuing to use his powers to serve and protect. The other issues felt a little unnecessary, such as Spidey's team up with Power Man and Ghost Rider, though they were also enjoyable. Overall, it has a great story, great characters, and great looking multiple art styles for the issues. This is just the first volume and I'm eager to read the 3 follow-ups. The Amazing Spider-Man Spider Island. A villain named Jackal plans to use the people of Manhattan as his science experiments, led by the Queen, to create a spider island by infecting the citizens with a virus that gives them abilities like Spider-Man has and mutate them into spider creatures, causing an epidemic. This causes Mayor J. Jonah Jameson to declare a citywide lockdown and collaborate with other superheroes to find a cure in hopes of ending the huge mayhem, as well as preventing the virus from potentially reaching other areas. This graphic novel had me pumped up from the start, and it made for a memorable read as Spidey got to work with other superheroes such as the Avengers, Fantastic Four, X-Men, Shang-Chi, and others. Not only that, but we also got Agent Venom's perspective, and his issues are also well written, effectively incorporating him into the story. It's big, filled with fantastic set pieces, emotional moments, and great dialogue between characters, though I felt bad for Peter for breaking up with his girlfriend. This is one of the Spider-Man stories I'm not forgetting anytime soon. The Amazing Spider-Man Mark of the Tarantula. The story is about the Daily Bugle planning to expose the Brand Corporation to the public of their seemingly evil deeds with the help of an underworld contact named Nose Norton. Unfortunately, exposing secrets can be risky, and there are bound to be some enemies that will come after him, causing Spider-Man to intervene and protect some staff of the Bugle from being harmed. The first 2 issues revolve around Mr. Hyde planning to get revenge from Cobra for dissolving their partnership and leaving him behind bars, which precede the events of the arrival of the Tarantula himself, hired by a representative of the corporation who is after Norton as well, and is later mutated to gain superpowers after his defeat from Spider-Man. Other characters also get in the way, such as Will-O-the-Wisp, to get revenge for turning him into immaterial with the ability to turn into a ball of light, depriving him of his pure humanity. The last 2 issues included are about Stiltman's desire to be popular, and the new Captain Marvel's origin, with both apparently serving as a filler not linked to the Mark of the Tarantula storyline. The book is by no means perfect, with some minor continuity errors, but I still enjoyed reading it with some standard revenge plot thrown in, and Spidey convincing an enemy not to turn into the wrong side of the law. The Amazing Spider-Man Family Business. The story is about Peter Parker discovering the side of his parents he never knew about as agents, as well as his sister named Teresa Parker. She recruits him on a mission to unlock the vault and awaken the sleeper in Cairo, Egypt, sealed by his father due to their resemblance, while Kingpin has set his eyes on the side to claim the gold. It was later revealed that everything about Teresa was a hoax, as Kingpin forcibly used Mr. From to pop in and out of her head using the augmenter he gave him and fed her false information, so it's up to Peter to eliminate the sleeper and foil Kingpin's plans. It was a quick read, which is fine, and I really like the art style and is what makes the graphic novel stand out, while the story itself is decent, given that it brings something unheard of about Peter Parker's parents, which I never would have expected, as well as the great looking locations, especially Cairo. It isn't one of Spidey's best stories, but I still had a good time reading it. The Amazing SpiderMan Volume 1.1 Learning to Crawl. This book focuses on the early years of Peter Parker as Spider-Man through some untold tales where he struggles to deal with his power and responsibilities, and even inspired someone else to take on a superhero identity like him, named Clayton Cole or Clash. As you flip the pages, you can see Spider-Man's improvement as a character, from performing gigs to actually helping people, since it's difficult to handle two identities as a superhero and as a civilian. I noticed some problems that seemed big were resolved quickly in the next issue, though not all of them luckily, and there could have been some panels that showed how Peter worked his way around his problems, even if it's just brief. But at least it comes with some consequences, such as him getting withdrawn from Dr. Caldwell's laboratory and the AV Club at Midtown High for stealing some electronics for his inverter, against Clash, who is sadly not a compelling villain despite his interesting background. I actually bought this book thinking that the pages are gonna have the same art style as the cover, but still look great. Some parts of the story felt like they came out of nowhere, like Spider-Man's encounter with the Fantastic Four and the invasion of little green men from outer space, but they're not a big deal. It even had some modern elements to it for a story that aimed to capture the feel of the 60s, but overall, it's a decent book. And that's a wrap. Thank you guys for watching, stay safe always, and I will see you guys in my next video. Lucas out.